Emisión.net.
Hello again and welcome to Letter from England, broadcasting for AC Press and the Spanish Evangelical Alliance. This week we're looking at a recent a joint statement made by the Vatican and the World Council of Churches, lamenting what they call the obsession with conversion, and asking if such an obsession, if it can be so called, is really such a bad thing. And one wonders if it's time to come finally clean and recognize that these institutions, the Vatican and the World Council of Churches, actually represent a different religion from that of biblical Christianity, at least in certain aspects, this being one of them. Now, lest you accuse me of a lack of graciousness or feel that that's denigrating these institutions, let's look at the statement which comes after a recent meeting between delegates from various religions. The participants, who included Buddhists, Hindus, Muslims, Jews, and others, stated that religious freedom implies the duty to respect other beliefs, never to denigrate or insult them, and never to distort their beliefs to try and make one's own religion look superior. And I think most of us would be happy with that and agree with those sentiments. However, out of that, the Vatican and the World Council of Churches agreed that whilst religious liberty is a non-negotiable human right, they warned, quote, of the need to overcome the obsession with converting others. And the report that they put together recommends working to overcome this obsession, so-called, as in the area of seeking conversions, they say all religions have made mistakes. It goes on to suggest that all religions should study their own histories and their doctrinal beliefs, presumably to clean up any teachings or practices that they may have regarding the conversion of members of other religions. And a code of anti-conversion conduct is being considered, or an anti-conversion code of conduct, perhaps I should call it. Well, as a result of such soul-searching, one proposal was to reject, quote, unethical means, unquote, and avoid targeting, again quoting, vulnerable people. Who are these vulnerable people? Well, according to the report, those such as children or handicapped people. Quite sure how handicapped people come into the category of spiritually vulnerable, but there we are. The participants get the idea of a code of conduct to do with conversion attempts. And the Vatican Committee for Christian Unity and the World Council of Churches suggested from that interreligious dialogue on this issue should continue at various levels. Have the Vatican and the Geneva-based organization completely forgotten the words of Jesus? Go into all the world and make disciples. The whole point of the Christian gospel is to get men and women to turn from, in other words, to convert from pagan religion, from idolatry, from their sins, to Christ. As the editorial in our sister digital magazine in Spanish, Protestante Digital, points out, such an obsession, if it existed amongst the evangelicals, would be extremely welcome. Would that all churches were, quote-unquote, obsessed with conversion, obsessed with evangelism. I well remember a lecturer of mine saying that when he was pastor of a church, his deacons, or one of them at least, one day accused him of being obsessed with evangelism. And his reply was, I wish that were true. The Bible teaches us that we need to convert from the system of the world, whichever aspect of that we're following, to that of the Lordship of Jesus Christ in order to be saved. And I fear that Rome and Geneva are heading down the dreaded path of political correctness, along which all religious belief would become ever more private, never shared with anybody, and therefore never causing anyone any offence. And of course, neither would it present anybody with the truth of the gospel, or show them the way into the kingdom of God either, of course. As evangelicals, we need to stand firm against such trends and say that we stand for conversion. I don't think the word obsession is particularly helpful, but that we certainly need to be preaching the gospel, making disciples in the whole world, so that men and women can hear the truth and respond to it. Thank you again for listening. A letter from England, broadcasting on emission.net and through the website protestantedigital.com. Goodbye for now.
Emisión.net